All right. All right, so I'm going to give you a second. Um, I've got a QR code there for you, and let me open my chat window again, and I'll also drop the link if that's easier. And so I'm giving you access to this presentation, which has all of these links embedded. So that'll save us a little bit of time as well. All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to go on. Hopefully you've been able to either snag a picture of that QR code or follow the link. So just a super quick overview. I'm going to explain what Flipgrid is in case some of you haven't been able to use it yet, and just give you a couple of highlight benefits. I'm going to do a brief demonstration, but only of the assessment piece. And then there's a couple of tips and helpful hints, and then we'll save questions for the end. So Flipgrid is an interactive discussion tool, but it's much more than that. It functions much like Snapchat. And so if you've been able to play on Snapchat, it has some of those same features. It's pretty fun. It has some filters. It's easy to use. It's free. So it's free for students to download. You can use it on your desktop. You can use it on an app. It's very flexible across devices. So super helpful, especially when you have students that may have low bandwidth issues. The Flipgrid seems to work pretty well. I had a student in China who was able to communicate with me best through Flipgrid when we did our spring pivot. So I think that's kind of proven to me, how valuable this tool can be. So basically the way it works is you set up a group, which could be a class or small groups, and then within those groups you set up topics. So very similar to what you would be doing in a threaded discussion in an online course, except this is much more interactive and a lot more fun. And so again, there's a link there for you to start your account, and a couple of different ways that I've been using Flipgrid. I'm definitely using it as a replacement for those discussion threads, but I'm also using it to build community because I'm teaching in person, hybrid, and full online all at the same time, like many of us. And so I wanted to try to build some community across all of those different modalities. And I've found that using Flipgrid, I can do that most easily. Students are really comfortable with it, and because they can be using it on their own time, it kind of bridges that gap between students who are coming to class during a set time and those who are fully asynchronous on their own. So I've also used Flipgrid for presentations or demonstrations. The max that you can use Flipgrid is 10 minutes. So that's perfect for quick demonstrations and presentations. But I can make it as small as 15 seconds. And you have control over that functionality. And there's a nice assessment component to Flipgrid as well, which is what I'm mostly going to focus on today. So a few benefits just to highlight. I already kind of talked about the ease of use and the fact that it's free. But what I've noticed is I hear from all students, and I hear more from students who I think may have been more hesitant to speak out in larger classes or even smaller classes. So I'm seeing a lot more even participation from students. I like the fact that they can actually check their video before they post it. So I know that students are rehearsing and practicing and deleting and redoing to get exactly what they want in their couple of minutes that they have for their Flipgrid, which is really helpful. It has some multimodal and some accessibility built-in features that I really like. And I do like the options that I have for giving feedback. And so that's mostly, again, what we're going to talk about here. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but these are all hot links to quick Loom videos where I'm showing you how to do all of these things quickly, and also what the student view looks like, particularly for them to use the whiteboard. to draw and to use sticky notes to emphasize some of their some of what they want to share with you. You will not be able to follow this educator login for Flipgrid. That's permission protected, but everything else on this slide and this slide are all hot links, most of them with video to walk you through. So I'm going to switch over to my Flipgrid screen. All right, so you should be seeing my demo group in Flipgrid. And so I won't show you exactly how to set it up because we just don't have time to do all of that today, but I will show you kind of what it looks like and how to use the feedback functions. So this is a brand new grid, so I don't have a lot of students embedded. There's a default topic that'll show up for you as soon as you make your class, and that's this hello I am. But I'm going to show you my quick intros. And so here's one of the accessibility features. There's an immersive reader. You can put really fun Jimmy Fallon stuff on here, and you just make it a little bit more fun. Students will join using this code, and there are lots of different ways to share that, which you can check out in the videos or just by exploring Flipgrid. It's pretty user-friendly. So, and I let my kids put together some sample videos for us so that you could see what it would look like if students submit videos and what it looks like when there are comments. So this is your instructor view. And so let's go in, and I'm going to stop my girls here. So in this view, you can watch their video and you can comment publicly here. So if you wanted to have feedback that you didn't mind if everyone saw, you would post it here. And notice you can also record it. So you can record a quick video to them or just make a public comment, and you can see the girls did a couple of for you just to show you what it would look like. But where I see the most benefit and where I've been spending most of my time giving feedback is in this feedback window. So notice here I've changed to private video feedback. So here I can record a response to the video, and it's private just to that student. And so I can really, I can say things that I would say in a one-on-one environment to that student about what they've posted, which I think has a lot of power. And because I can't always do that in a full class with ease, right? That's extra time. Here I can quickly do that. There is a basic grading rubric that Flipgrid has available to you. I don't find it terribly helpful. It has ideas and performance, and it's just on a 5-point scale. So, you know, it gives you a little bit of content and a little bit of performance, which is okay. But I'm going to show you how to change that here in a second. And you also have private comments. So if you don't really feel like recording yourself, although I would encourage you to do it, students really do like the video feedback, you can private comment here. So the power that I see in this section from an assessment perspective is my ability to beef up that rubric section. So now I'm in just an editing panel. So you can see where I've added things, and I'm going to skip all the way to the bottom where the feedback is. So right now I'm on the default basic feedback, but I can customize feedback here. And the nice thing about this is any rubric criterion that you add in any of your Flipgrid courses that you've created will be accessible here. So once you add something, it's available to you in your library. So the more you use it, the more robust your possibilities will be. So let's say I wanted to use my presentation criterion and quality of content, and I want to add that. Oops, sorry, wrong button. That's to add new and update. So now when I go back, And stop these silly girls for a second. Now I have my own personalized criteria. So there's some pretty short character counts here. So, those of you who have pretty wordy rubrics that you use for different assignments, you won't be able to paste all those in. I'm in education, so, we've got those massive, standards-based rubrics. Those don't fit, but I can shorten the content a little bit. And my scale here actually goes up to 100. So I have the ability to do any of that kind of quick feedback, and then I can record. And then I have a couple of options. This will save automatically, so students will be able to go in and see this grading rubric, or I can copy it, or I can email it directly to them. So it's up to you how you want to do that, and sometimes up to student preference as well. So that may be something that you just ask students what their preference might be for receiving that feedback and how often. So I like to limit some of those notifications so I don't get a gazillion messages a day as students are in grids. So the other thing that I really like about this is they'll get a lot of public feedback from peers, which is really nice. So you have both the peer feedback and your personalized feedback. And I think there's great value in having that balance of peer feedback as well as instructor feedback. Let me go back to sharing these slides. All right. So some different ways that I've used Flipgrid, and maybe things that'll resonate and help you think of some different ways that you may be able to use it in your own disciplines and courses as well. Quick exit tickets. So just those quick, couple of questions, write down a couple of things that you've learned from class today, kinds of things, or, one or two content-based questions that you have for them. They could do that in a Flipgrid instead of doing that, in a handwritten or even a call and response. I've used it to check for acquisition or mastery. So if I'm asking students to do something and show it to me, I can do that in the video. There's a way for them to show their work and explain their work using whiteboard, just like we saw Lynn share with us on that Google Doc. They can screen split in their videos, and I have a video for you to show you that, where they can have a whiteboard present, they can write on it, they can add sticky notes as they're talking. So you are able to kind of have them hone in on exactly how they got a response. So in a math course, they could solve a math problem and have it on the whiteboard and then talk to you about how they were able to solve that equation. So I did use it for presentations in the spring, and these were the shortest, most succinct, most powerful presentations that I've seen in a long time, because they had a time limit on the video. So they really had to be intentional in their language and their presentation, which I really liked. I have a class where they have data that they're collecting. I teach a classroom management class, and so they're doing some behavioral modifications in the classroom where they collect data. And so they were able to show their graphs quickly, and we could, chart share and talk about what we were seeing, trends, which was really fun for students, and ask questions in their responses on the Flipgrid. I kind of use the generic, tell me one thing you learned, tell me one thing you still have a question about. Those are quick videos, but give me a lot of information about how they're doing with the content. The other thing I want to mention is there are private, called moderated grids. And I use those to check in for two reasons with students. One, I want to check in on mental health. How are you doing? How's your stress level? How can I help? What resources can I help you get connected with? But I also do it for individual student progress check-in. So this way it saves me some time. So I can put a private grid up and say, leave me a 1-minute summary of how you're doing with your project and what your project status might be. And then I can go back and forth with that student as they progress through their project. And that's all private just to me. I don't have to worry about being in the private feedback function. That whole topic is private to me, which is nice. So I like letting students pose discussions and questions within. So I may start it, but we will continue it. And just doing some of those responses to journal articles. I've had some students do some performance as well as they're reflecting and connecting. They can share photos and they can screen share easily, so they can show different creative works. So if they've built something in 3D, they can do that. And just using it to respond to like essay questions. So on final exams, instead of having them write massive essays, I could use the video response as a way to bridge that gap. You can also attach like quick Google Forms, and sort of showed you how to do that as well. And then just a couple of tips. This will work. This will work for both formative and summative. And we talked about the private public option. I would suggest leaving the feedback open long enough at least for them to get in and view, but I would encourage you to just leave it open so that it's just available. They can go back to it later in the semester. If they think about something that they want to add to a previous topic, they can do that. And then really tailor those rubrics and use the video feedback. There's great power in that. And a couple of links for you. And then the next one's just my contact information.